When the market's pulling back and there's a lot of red numbers on the board, I know it's very easy to feel anxious, and sometimes you might feel like I'm the only one that feels this way, that's so worried about what's happening. But the truth is, we've all been through this, right? And some of the best investors ever have a lot of wisdom about these market events and some things we can really take away and some lessons we can apply to ourselves and our own planning moving forward. Today, I'm going to share some great quotes with you, and we'll get Dennis's thoughts on what they mean and how they apply to how you plan. Welcome in to Dollars with Dennis. Glad to have you on the show once again with Dennis Hoare, of course, at Faith 401k and Money Management. Dennis, how are you?
I'm great today. How are you, Ben?
I'm doing well. We're kind of focused on the market right now, and I think it's important because it's what a lot of people are talking about. And I know a lot of people are feeling uncomfortable right now. We talked about a little bit last episode about, hey, if you are uncomfortable, here's some things you should be doing. So go back to that and check it out. But today I want to kind of go back through some of the great investors and kind of what they said, because I think the biggest thing, and you probably know this firsthand from what you do every day, but it's about learning from our experiences, right? I'm sure you've learned a lot along the way through years and years of doing this planning about things to do and not to do that you apply to new people you work with and everyone moving forward.
Right? Yep, we have for sure. I mean, every day we learn something different, but it's mostly dealing with those emotions, dealing with those fears, and but we can look back at history and see what other people have done and learn from that. And that's the whole part.
Yeah, it's so important. We're going to do that today. I think we have some good quotes we're going to take you through. Again, if you have questions, 401k.faith is the website. You'll learn more about the team there and some of the things that they do and how they can help you prepare for retirement and to manage your money. Also, the phone number again, 513-898-1897. So I'm going to start with one that I think most people have probably heard before, Dennis, but Warren Buffett, obviously one of the great investors of our time, maybe one of the greats to ever do it, but he said, be fearful when others are greedy and greedy when others are fearful. I know we know this is the way to approach investing, Dennis, but it can be pretty difficult.
Absolutely. So the markets are down this year. It's almost the end of April, and we're off maybe 8 or 10%. And so I'm asking clients to learn from Warren Buffett. If you have some cash sitting on the sidelines in the bank, it's probably a good time to invest based on past performance and past history. So he's saying when people are scared, and right now a lot of people are scared, you should be confident and be buying into that and not fearful. And when people are excited, like they have been the last couple of years, you should start getting worried. And that's kind of our motto. So I felt like that last year was such a good year. We would have some volatility, some pullback, and didn't know what would cause it, but we do now. But just be ready to take advantage. Always have a little bit of cash on the sideline that you can take advantage of market changes.
It's human nature though, right? I mean, when things are going well, you just say, well, I just want to get a little bit more out of this. I know we can maybe get higher and higher. And then again, when things are going bad like they are right now, it's just so easy to say, oh man, I just want to get out and just pause, step away, not be a part of that. So while we understand this quote is spot on in retrospect, typically we see that. It's just so hard as a human being with those emotions to really dive in and focus on that.
And challenging the emotional awareness is important. And so quick personal story. We have one client during COVID that just panicked completely and had to move to cash. And out of our whole book, one client did that happen. And that is the only client that hasn't recovered fully from the COVID correction because they moved to cash at that point. So be greedy when people are fearful. People are fearful now. So look for ways to get money to work for you today.
That's a great story, Dennis. I think that speaks to why you stay invested, right? I mean, a lot of people have rebounded and things rebounded pretty significantly following COVID and quickly. But if you had been out of the market, you would have missed it altogether. And to your point, somebody still is. So again, a great example of why you try to stay invested. All right. Benjamin Graham, he's the author of The Intelligent Investor. Good book if you haven't read it yet. But he said that investor's chief problem and even his worst enemy is likely to be himself. So explain what that means.
Yeah, so people that watch the news or the market reports and get all excited, they don't look at their plan. They don't call us. They do the wrong thing. So we're our own worst enemy. So if we have a plan and we are confident that plan works, then we shouldn't get worried about the market swings and become our own worst enemy. which is pretty much the way most people are in a lot of things, but especially when it comes to investing, for sure.
Our own worst enemy in many situations. And of course, money is no different here. We're talking about some of the greats and what they said about market crashes. Jack Bogle is the founder of Vanguard. He said this, and I think this really rings true: stay the course. No matter what happens, stick to the program. I've said stay the course 1,000 times, and I meant it every time. It is the most important single piece of investment wisdom I can give you. I think that, I mean, it's pretty straightforward, Dennis, but it's so true. And it's very difficult to do, again, to stay the course when the waters get choppy.
Right, for sure. And Jack Bogle, he's got to be one of the living legends, the big time of our time, founder of Vanguard. And if he can stay the course and mean it 1,000 times, I think people get tired of me saying, this is our plan. Here's where we're going. Here's how we get there. Let's don't change it because markets are changing. Let's stick to the plan and don't, like the last line, don't become our own worst enemy, because that's exactly what we become if we start getting nervous and making the wrong decisions at the wrong time.
And it's okay to evaluate the plan, right, Dennis, in times like this, to come in and sit down and say, okay, let's just reassess what the plan is and where we're going, and just kind of reconfirm that, hey, we are on the right track. Because, look, you might question things, and that's fine. I mean, it's human nature to be a little concerned, a little worried, and want to do something. But having that kind of second opinion, that discussion can kind of help kind of ease some of that anxiety.
Oh, absolutely, Ben. That's definitely what we want people to do. If they're really nervous, they're not worried, we want them to come in and go back through the plan to make sure that it is hitting the goals that they want to have. They're living the way they want to live and getting the best out of their plan. If we can go back through that, and sometimes we might be off target a little bit because something's changed in our life, that gives us a chance to readdress or reassess how we're investing and how we're positioning for the long term. But we don't want to sell stuff at the wrong time, at the wrong price, for sure, to do. Yeah. But getting another opinion is good.
I got a few more quotes. What about this one from John Templeton? I love it. The four most dangerous words in investing are, this time it's different.
You don't know how many times.
Dennis, no matter what the market pullback is. And there's different reasons for it. There's different things that trigger it. It always feels different when you're in it.
It sure does. And I've heard that exact line probably 10 times in the last month. Yep. Because this time is different. We've had market corrections before, but this time it's different. Why is it different? Well, because what's causing it? Well, it doesn't matter what causes the market correction. They correct. We want to take advantage of those corrections. We want to rebalance. We want a dollar cost average. We want to tax harvest during those times and take advantage of market swings, because that's what makes market investing successful.
I think back to COVID for this one, and that's kind of, having gone through that, you truly say, okay, if the markets can recover from really a black swan event like that, where, nobody truly knew what the future would hold and kind of what would change with the world. And everybody truly had a reason to say, this time it's different. But again, quickly rebounded and, things corrected themselves as always. So I think that was kind of the big, aha moment for me, was seeing how everything navigated that.
It was, for sure. Yeah. And it did respond very quickly and in different cycles and different segments, but it always responds. And that's what I tell people every day. Good companies learn how to make money in every economy. They might shift their gears to do something different or a different way, but they're going to learn to make money in pretty much every economy, every presidential cycle as we go through life, for sure.
All right. Peter Lynch. This is a good one that'll make you think a little bit, but he said, far more money has been lost by investors preparing for corrections or trying to anticipate corrections than has ever been lost in the corrections themselves.
Yeah. So market timing, how do you do that? So people are, when's the right time to get in? Market's been up. Should I get in now? Too much, too late? So preparing for that, the people who hesitate lose, for sure. You have to be committed. We get rollovers come in. People ask, is this a good time to put it in? It's always a good time to put it in. It's always a bad time to put it in. You want to be prepared for corrections and live with corrections, but don't be afraid of them and be frozen in place, I guess, is you don't do anything, and that's worse than doing the wrong thing. many
Yeah, and
times.
you end up kicking yourself too when you do that, right? By trying to outsmart the market. Then you look back and say, "Man, if I just would have stayed place, I would have been fine."
Yes, for sure. And if we look backward, we'd say we should have been in gold the last 5 months. Never in my career has gold been the place to be. The last 5 months, it has been. My guess is it won't be the next 5 months. So don't look backwards. Let's see where we're going.
Exactly. So true. All right. Last one. Morgan Housel, author of The Psychology of Money, said risk is what's left over when you think you've thought of everything.
Yeah. So that's interesting. And I'm not really sure I understand where he's going with this, but when you've thought you've analyzed everything and you're still nervous or worried, that is what risk is doing to you. So sometimes that means we want to redo our risk tolerance questionnaires, make sure that we have appropriate amount of risk, as it does change. Sometimes if something's changed in somebody's life, they might be less willing to take market swings. They might be older now, and people think that they're retiring at 65 or 70, they're going to be out of the market. That's probably not the case. We live way too long for that. So just everything else is left over for sure.
Yeah. Well, that's just some of the wisdom. Again, we've kind of all been through this before. Some of the great investors have some great thoughts about some lessons they've learned along the way, and we wanted to share those with you in case you're uncomfortable with what the markets are doing, which again is only natural right now with the way things are performed. But again, Dennis is an investment and retirement planning professional at Faith 401k and money management. If you have questions about the way you're invested, if you're worried about your plan, maybe you just want to get a second opinion, feel free to reach out. You can go to 401k.faith to do that. And then this is a great time, right? If you are uncomfortable, this is a reason why you want to go and sit down with an advisor, a financial professional, to begin looking at your overall plan and make sure you're heading the right direction.
Absolutely. This is the time for sure.
Yep. 513-898-1897 is that number. And again, hopefully you got a little value out of this. And if you did, please hit subscribe on the channel. We'd appreciate that support. We'll talk to you again on the next video.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through Osaic Wealth, Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Osaic Wealth is separately owned, and other entities and/or marketing names, products, or services referenced here are independent of Osaic Wealth.